What happens when a scientist's quest to contact alien life leads to an invasion of his own mind? You won't believe how Dr. Marcus Wiles' discovery of extraterrestrial consciousness turns into a terrifying glimpse of humanity's future, and what it might cost him to warn the world. The incessant hum of machinery filled the underground laboratory as Dr. Marcus Wiles adjusted the final settings on his groundbreaking invention. For 7 years, he had dedicated every waking moment to developing the neural interface device, a revolutionary apparatus capable of bridging human consciousness with extraterrestrial minds. The air crackled with anticipation as Marcus stared at the complex array of electrodes and quantum processors before him. Outside, Chicago's skyline glittered under the moonlight, oblivious to the potentially world-changing experiment about to unfold beneath its streets. The device's surface shimmered with an ethereal blue glow, pulsating like a living organism hungry for activation. Every component had been meticulously crafted, from the crystalline conduits that channeled neural energy to the quantum entanglement core that would facilitate cross-species communication. His research had pushed the boundaries of neuroscience and quantum physics, drawing upon classified government studies and ancient texts that hinted at alien contact throughout human history. As he prepared to activate the system, memories of sleepless nights and countless failures flashed through his mind. The scientific community had dismissed his theories as science fiction, but Marcus knew better. The mathematical patterns and crop circles, the unexplained artifacts found across ancient civilizations, the sudden technological leaps in human history, all pointed to intelligent intervention from beyond Earth. Tonight, he would prove his detractors wrong. At precisely 3:17 a.m., he initiated the startup sequence, watching as streams of data cascaded across multiple holographic displays. The temperature in the lab dropped noticeably as the quantum processors reached critical capacity. His heart raced not just from excitement but from the weight of what he was about to attempt, making first contact with an alien consciousness. We only just began this story, but trust me, it's about to get much more intense. Stay to witness what happens when humanity's curiosity meets the unknown. Marcus's fingers danced across the control panel as he initiated the first contact sequence. His heart pounded against his ribcage like a trapped bird desperate for freedom. The machine's temperature rose steadily, causing beads of sweat to form on his forehead. Suddenly, the laboratory's lights flickered violently, and an unearthly vibration coursed through the room. Through the interface's display, Marcus detected a presence, intelligent, ancient, and vastly superior to human cognition. Before he could react, searing pain shot through his skull as foreign thoughts invaded his mind. Images of distant galaxies, incomprehensible geometries, and civilizations beyond imagination flooded his consciousness. The scientist collapsed to his knees, clutching his head as the alien intelligence pushed deeper into his neural pathways. Each pulse of information felt like liquid fire coursing through his brain, burning away preconceived notions about reality and existence. The laboratory equipment began behaving erratically, monitors displaying patterns that defied known physics. Quantum particles danced in visible formations around the room, creating intricate mandalas of light and shadow. Marcus's breathing became shallow as his mind struggled to process the overwhelming influx of alien knowledge. He caught glimpses of their technology, devices that manipulated space-time, energy sources that drew power from higher dimensions, transportation systems that made light-speed travel seem primitive. But these revelations came at a cost. Each new insight brought waves of physical agony, as his human brain attempted to accommodate alien thought processes. The interface wasn't just connecting him to another consciousness. It was rewriting his neural pathways, forcing them to operate on levels never intended by nature. Through the pain, he realized the aliens weren't merely contacting him. They were probing, testing, perhaps even judging humanity's readiness for such profound knowledge. We're approaching the climax. What's about to happen will turn everything upside down. You can't afford to miss the resolution of this story. As the invasion intensified, Marcus found himself trapped in a kaleidoscope of alien memories and knowledge. The beings communicated not through words but through pure thought forms that burned like liquid fire in his brain. Each pulse brought excruciating clarity about their civilization, their home world orbiting a dying star, their desperate search for new habitats, and their view of humanity as primitive yet dangerously ambitious creatures. The scientist tried to sever the connection, but the interface had become a prison, binding his mind to theirs with unbreakable chains. Through tear-filled eyes, he watched as his laboratory transformed into a surreal landscape of floating symbols and shifting dimensions. The alien's consciousness flowed through him like a river of molten gold, carrying fragments of their history and culture. He experienced their social structures, hive-like communities where individuality merged with collective consciousness, decision-making processes that incorporated millennia of accumulated wisdom, artistic expressions that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Their technology wasn't separate from their biology. It was an extension of their very being, grown rather than manufactured, evolving alongside their species. Marcus's own thoughts began to shift, adopting alien perspectives that made human concepts seem simplistic and crude. Time lost meaning as he witnessed their civilizations rise and fall through countless cycles of expansion and contraction. The laboratory's walls dissolved completely, replaced by vistas of alien landscapes, cities built from living crystal, oceans of liquid light, forests of sentient plants that communicated through color and vibration. Yet beneath the wonder lay a growing horror, the realization that he might never escape this mental prison, that his human identity could be subsumed entirely by alien consciousness. Hours stretched into what felt like days as Marcus endured the mental assault. The aliens revealed their society's darkest secret. They had encountered countless species throughout their existence, each time facing the same tragic outcome. Their psychic projections showed civilizations self-destructing under the weight of their technological ambitions, leaving behind barren worlds and echoes of what could have been. Through this painful transmission, Marcus understood that his species stood at a similar crossroads. The aliens weren't merely observing, they were warning. Their thoughts carried an urgent message about humanity's unsustainable path and the catastrophic consequences awaiting if nothing changed. The visions grew more detailed, showing how each contacted species had initially responded with fear or aggression, misinterpreting peaceful gestures as threats. Some had weaponized alien technology, accelerating their own destruction. Others had rejected the knowledge altogether, choosing ignorance over understanding. Through these shared memories, Marcus felt the cumulative weight of disappointment and loss, entire species wiped out by their own hands, despite being offered the chance to learn from others' mistakes. The alien's sorrow manifested as physical pressure in his chest, making each breath increasingly difficult. Their warnings weren't abstract predictions but documented histories of failure, repeated across thousands of worlds and millions of years. They showed him civilizations that had mastered space travel only to destroy themselves through interstellar war, species that had unlocked the secrets of artificial intelligence but couldn't control their creations, cultures that had terraformed their planets into uninhabitable wastelands. Each example was a lesson humanity had yet to learn but desperately needed to understand. The laboratory's walls seemed to dissolve around Marcus as the alien consciousness pulled him deeper into their collective mind. He witnessed their attempts to communicate with other species, noble efforts met with fear, violence, or complete ignorance. Through these shared experiences, he realized the profound loneliness of being among the galaxy's most advanced beings. The pain in their thoughts was palpable as they displayed countless failed attempts at peaceful contact. Yet amid this despair, Marcus detected something unexpected: hope. The aliens believed humanity might be different, that perhaps Earth's inhabitants could learn from past mistakes and forge a new path forward. Their optimism stemmed from careful observation of human development, the way Earth's diverse cultures had repeatedly overcome division, the rapid pace of scientific advancement tempered by ethical considerations, the global cooperation demonstrated during crises. Through their eyes, Marcus saw humanity's potential reflected back, a species capable of both great destruction and remarkable creation. The aliens revealed their methodology for selecting contact candidates. They sought worlds where technological progress was matched by philosophical evolution, where the tools of destruction were balanced by instruments of peace. Earth had shown promise in recent decades, international treaties, environmental awareness movements, advances in medicine and communication technologies that benefited all rather than few. These developments hadn't gone unnoticed by the watchers in the stars. Yet Marcus understood that promise alone wasn't enough. Humanity stood at a critical juncture where choices made today would determine tomorrow's fate. As the psychic connection strengthened, Marcus discovered fragments of the aliens' technology scattered across Earth's history. Ancient structures in Egypt, Nazca lines in Peru, even certain crop circles, all carried subtle signatures of their previous visits. The revelations came in waves, each more shocking than the last. Through their shared consciousness, he saw how carefully they had observed human development, intervening only when extinction threatened. His mind reeled as he processed centuries of covert guidance, from subtle inspiration of scientific breakthroughs to preventing global catastrophes. The pyramids of Giza contained encoded messages about cosmic alignment and solar cycles, while Easter Island statues held instructions for sustainable resource management. Leonardo da Vinci's sketches bore traces of alien influence, particularly in his designs for flying machines and anatomical studies. The Renaissance itself appeared to have been gently nudged by extraterrestrial intervention, accelerating humanity's intellectual awakening without revealing its source. World War II had nearly ended differently, with alien technology preventing the deployment of more devastating weapons. The Cold War's nuclear brinkmanship had been carefully monitored, with fail-safe mechanisms in place to prevent mutual annihilation. Even the digital revolution carried alien fingerprints, with key innovations emerging from researchers who had unknowingly been exposed to alien thought patterns. Each revelation forced Marcus to reconsider everything he thought he knew about human history and achievement. The line between independent discovery and guided development blurred until it disappeared entirely, leaving him to question whether humanity's progress had ever been truly its own. The alien consciousness began projecting visions of Earth's possible futures. Some showed utopian societies where humanity embraced sustainable coexistence with nature and technology. Others depicted nightmarish scenarios of environmental collapse and technological enslavement. Marcus experienced these potential realities as if living through them, feeling the joy of peaceful advancement and the horror of self-destruction simultaneously. In one future, Earth had become a paradise of floating cities powered by clean energy, where humans and artificial intelligences worked in harmony to explore the stars. Children learned telepathy alongside mathematics, communicating with alien species as easily as their parents used smartphones. In another timeline, rampant climate change had rendered most of the planet uninhabitable, with survivors fighting over dwindling resources while AI overlords maintained control through surveillance and manipulation. Between these extremes lay countless variations, each representing different choices humanity could make in the present. The emotional whiplash left him gasping for air, his body convulsing on the laboratory floor while his mind remained trapped in this temporal labyrinth. Through the chaos, one realization crystallized. The choice between these futures rested entirely with humanity's present actions. The aliens weren't dictating outcomes but presenting possibilities, trusting humanity to chart its own course armed with this crucial knowledge. Yet Marcus understood that knowing the future's potential wouldn't guarantee wise decisions. Many species had possessed similar foresight yet still chosen paths leading to destruction. In a sudden shift, the alien presence turned inward, revealing their own civilization's struggles. Marcus witnessed their planet's transformation from paradise to wasteland, driven by unchecked expansion and resource consumption. The pain of loss radiated through their shared consciousness. Oceans turned to dust, forests reduced to memory, skies perpetually darkened by industrial waste. These weren't mere historical accounts. They were living traumas etched into the collective psyche of an entire species. Through intimate detail, he experienced their equivalent of the Industrial Revolution, how their ancestors had sacrificed environmental stability for technological progress, believing they could repair any damage later. The parallels to Earth's current situation struck him with devastating clarity. Their scientists had warned of impending disaster, just as human researchers did today, only to be ignored or silenced by those profiting from destruction. Entire ecosystems had collapsed within mere generations, taking with them irreplaceable biodiversity and natural resources. The aliens showed him their attempts at geoengineering, desperate projects to reverse climate change that ultimately accelerated their world's demise. Through their memories, Marcus felt the anguish of watching familiar landscapes transform into barren deserts, of seeing beloved species vanish forever. Their once blue skies had turned toxic, forcing their population underground long before their sun began to die. Each shared experience carried the weight of personal loss multiplied by billions, creating a grief so profound it transcended individual comprehension. Through the psychic link, Marcus gained unprecedented access to the aliens' decision-making processes. Their civilization operated through a complex network of shared consciousness, where individual experiences contributed to collective wisdom. Decisions affecting their species required consensus across vast mental networks, incorporating perspectives spanning thousands of years. This system had worked flawlessly for millennia, guiding their development from primitive tool users to masters of galactic exploration. Yet Marcus discovered fundamental flaws in their approach, blind spots created by their own success that had led to catastrophic miscalculations. The aliens revealed how their species had grown complacent, assuming their advanced technology could solve any problem, prevent any disaster. When early signs of environmental degradation appeared, they dismissed them as temporary setbacks, confident in their ability to engineer solutions. Their leadership structures, designed for efficiency, had become rigid hierarchies resistant to change. Scientific dissent was discouraged, alternative viewpoints marginalized. Marcus watched as their society's very sophistication became its downfall, with automated systems maintaining destructive practices long after their unsustainability became apparent. The aliens showed him their attempts at reform, grassroots movements advocating for change, visionary leaders trying to shift course, all crushed by entrenched interests and institutional inertia. Through these shared memories, he understood how easily advanced civilizations could become trapped by their own achievements, unable to adapt quickly enough to prevent disaster. The culmination of the psychic connection arrived with devastating clarity. The aliens forced Marcus to experience their final days on their home world. The panic as systems failed, the despair as ecosystems collapsed, the helplessness as billions perished. This wasn't a simple transmission of information. It was a direct neural download of their species' death throes. The scientist's body writhed in agony as his human brain struggled to contain the overwhelming torrent of alien memories and emotions. He lived through their evacuation efforts, watching as generation ships launched too late, carrying only a fraction of their population to uncertain fates among the stars. The remaining billions faced extinction with varying degrees of acceptance and resistance, some turning to virtual realities to escape their dying world, others raging against fate until their last breaths. Marcus felt the collective consciousness fragment as individuals died, taking unique perspectives and memories with them. The aliens showed him their leaders' final transmissions, recorded as their world's atmosphere became unbreathable and their star expanded toward supernova. These messages weren't cries for help but warnings to others, documentation of their mistakes preserved in crystalline archives scattered across nearby systems. As the connection reached its peak, Marcus experienced the actual death of their home star, feeling the shockwave ripple through subspace as their world was consumed in nuclear fire. Just when consciousness seemed about to shatter completely, the link severed abruptly, leaving Marcus gasping on the laboratory floor, his mind forever altered by what he had witnessed. Reeling from the psychic ordeal, Marcus slowly regained awareness of his surroundings. The laboratory's familiar equipment seemed strange now, viewed through eyes that had seen the end of worlds. Every piece of technology carried new meaning. Every scientific instrument spoke of potential doom. His hands trembled as he attempted to rise, muscles weak from hours spent in mental combat. The neural interface device lay dark and silent, its surface cold to the touch. Yet Marcus knew the experience had fundamentally changed him. His thoughts moved differently, carrying echoes of alien perspectives that colored everything he perceived. Simple acts like checking his phone or turning on the lab lights felt alien themselves, as if he was operating machinery designed for a different species. The alien's consciousness hadn't left him. It had integrated with his own, creating a hybrid mind that processed information in unprecedented ways. He noticed patterns in data streams that would have escaped his attention before, made connections between seemingly unrelated phenomena with startling clarity. But this enhanced perception came at a cost. Human interactions felt distant, conversations seemed primitive, and Earth's problems appeared simultaneously trivial and monumental. Each attempt to document his experience revealed new layers of complexity, forcing him to develop a hybrid notation system combining human language with alien symbols to capture the full scope of what he had learned. Days passed as Marcus struggled to process what he had learned. Simple tasks became monumental challenges as his mind constantly overlapped human and alien thought patterns. Walking through Chicago's streets, he saw the city's infrastructure with new eyes, recognizing the seeds of destruction hidden within apparent progress. Skyscrapers weren't just architectural achievements but monuments to resource consumption. Traffic systems represented inefficient energy use. Even the parks carried traces of artificial maintenance rather than natural growth. The aliens' warnings played in endless loops through his consciousness, their urgency impossible to ignore. At night, sleep offered no respite as dreams merged Earth's future with the aliens' past, creating horrifying visions of what awaited if nothing changed. He began documenting everything in frantic detail, filling notebooks with scribbles that combined mathematical equations, philosophical musings, and alien glyphs. These writings took on a life of their own, forming complex diagrams that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. His academic colleagues grew concerned as his lectures incorporated increasingly abstract concepts about sustainability and interspecies communication. Food tasted bland, music sounded discordant, and art appeared simplistic compared to the multidimensional expressions he had experienced. Yet amidst this disorientation, Marcus discovered unexpected gifts, the ability to solve complex problems intuitively, to perceive environmental changes others missed, to understand technological limitations in ways that could revolutionize multiple fields. Determined to share his revelation, Marcus approached scientific institutions and government agencies, but his warnings fell on deaf ears. The establishment dismissed his account as delusion, despite his impeccable credentials and detailed documentation. Frustration mounted as he watched humanity continue down the destructive path predicted by the aliens. News reports of environmental disasters, technological misuse, and social division only reinforced the validity of the warning he carried. In private meetings with influential figures, he presented irrefutable evidence of alien contact throughout history, demonstrating how their subtle guidance had shaped human development. Yet these revelations were met with skepticism or outright hostility, with many accusing him of fabricating data to gain fame or funding. The scientific community particularly resisted his claims, labeling them as pseudoscience despite the mathematical models and experimental results supporting his theories. Alone in his laboratory, Marcus worked feverishly to modify the neural interface device, hoping to create a way to broadcast the alien's message directly into human consciousness. Each failure drove him closer to despair, but the alien's memories kept pushing him forward. They had shown him not just their mistakes but also their moments of triumph, breakthroughs in sustainable energy, advances in ecological restoration, innovations in social organization that balanced individual freedom with collective responsibility. These positive examples gave him hope that humanity might still choose a different path if enough people received the transmission. Months of isolation transformed Marcus's laboratory into a shrine to interstellar communication. Alien symbols covered every surface, glowing softly in the dim light. The modified interface stood at the center, now capable of reaching multiple minds simultaneously. Through trial and error, he discovered how to filter the overwhelming alien consciousness into manageable transmissions. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. During a test run, several colleagues experienced brief flashes of alien perspective, enough to understand the gravity of the warning. Their shocked expressions confirmed what Marcus had hoped. The message could spread, even if imperfectly. Human minds couldn't handle the full intensity of alien consciousness without preparation, so he developed a gradual exposure protocol. Initial contacts focused on simple concepts: the interconnectedness of all life, the fragility of ecosystems, the long-term consequences of short-sighted decisions. As subjects became comfortable with these ideas, more complex information could be introduced: advanced mathematical principles underlying sustainable technologies, social structures that promoted cooperation over competition, methods for integrating artificial intelligence safely into society. The laboratory became a testing ground for humanity's readiness to receive alien wisdom, with Marcus carefully monitoring each participant's neural activity and psychological response. Some individuals showed remarkable adaptability, quickly grasping concepts that should have been beyond human comprehension. Others experienced severe cognitive dissonance, requiring weeks of therapy to reintegrate into normal society. Through these experiments, Marcus refined his approach, learning which aspects of alien knowledge could be most effectively transmitted and which required further adaptation for human understanding. The final pieces fell into place as Marcus prepared for global transmission. The modified neural interface device pulsed with potential, ready to share the alien's crucial message with the world. Though changed forever by his experience, Marcus found purpose in his role as messenger. The alien's consciousness had become part of his own, their wisdom guiding his every decision. As he activated the system, knowing the risks of exposing humanity to such profound truth, Marcus understood that real change always comes with challenge. The screen before him displayed Earth's interconnected networks, each node representing a mind that might soon grasp the gravity of their species' situation. He initiated the sequence with a mixture of hope and trepidation, watching as the signal propagated through communication satellites and internet infrastructure worldwide. Initial responses varied wildly. Some regions reported mass panic as people struggled to process alien concepts, while others experienced profound enlightenment and immediate action towards sustainability. Governments scrambled to contain the information flow, but the transmission's decentralized nature made suppression impossible. Social media platforms lit up with discussions about humanity's place in the universe and responsibility to future generations. Scientists worldwide verified Marcus's findings, leading to unprecedented collaboration across disciplines and borders. Within weeks, major policy changes reflected the aliens' wisdom, aggressive climate action, ethical AI development guidelines, international agreements on space exploration ethics. The transformation wasn't universal or immediate, but the seed of change had been planted in humanity's collective consciousness. Remember to subscribe for more mind-bending science fiction adventures that explore the boundaries of human understanding.